Hi, I'm Danielle Dufault, and you're watching Animalogic. We're going into the depths of the jungle of Gorgona, Colombia's infamous Snake Island. The mission is simple. We're going to see what this legendary island actually looks like and show you its most venomous inhabitants. Let's get straight into it. Our South American correspondent, Andres, is heading down there right now to look for snakes himself and give you exclusive access to this mythical island. As he explores the island, we'll show you all the snakes that inhabit it, as well as some of the magnificent wildlife of the Colombian Pacific jungle. Let's go to him now.
Hey, this is Andres for Animalogic. We finally made it to Gorgona Island, and the main thing we're looking here for is fer-de-lance snakes. These are the most medically significant snakes in this area of the world. So if we find one, we're gonna be very excited, but also we're gonna be very careful because those are very venomous snakes. So let's go take a look.
So let's start with the most pressing question. What makes Gorgona the Snake Island? For that, we have to go back 500 years. The year was 1527. Francisco Pizarro, the Spanish conquistador who led the conquest of the Inca Empire, was still just an explorer in search of riches in the Pacific coast of South America. He had been fighting diseases and local tribes and decided to sail to Gorgona for a few months to rest and nurse his men back to health. But Gorgona, even though it didn't have hostile tribes, had its own perils. It was full of venomous snakes. Pizarro lost several of his men, and after deeming it an inferno, renamed it Gorgona after the Gorgons, the characters in Greek mythology that had snakes instead of hair. Medusa was one of them. So going into the jungle and looking for food was a bad idea. In their defense, it was the 1500s, and there weren't many options. And also, they didn't know about the most medically significant snake on the island, and possibly in all of South America's tropical regions, the fer-de-lance. The fer-de-lance, also known as the terciopelo or Bothrops asper, is the icon of Gorgona. There are other venomous snakes, but the island's reputation rests squarely on the shoulders of this snake. It might not look like much at just 1 meter long, but its camouflage, combined with its small size, make it almost impossible to see, and very easy to step on and get bitten. They are pit vipers, which means they can use the little holes around their mouth to sense heat and find the ideal spot to bite. Their usual prey are rodents and other small mammals, and to catch them, they hide under leaf litter, blending in perfectly with the dead leaves. Once something gets in their biting range, they snap. It takes 0.2 seconds, much faster than the average person's reaction time. The effect is almost equally fast. Within seconds, the venom starts destroying blood cells, which leads to necrosis and internal bleeding. This isn't a place with large prey, so it feels a bit extra for the fer-de-lance to have such powerful venom. But the point of it isn't to kill large prey. The point is to kill small prey quickly. As snakelings, they hunt reptiles and amphibians using their skinny, worm-like tail to lure them. Geckos and anoles make up the majority of their meals, but the western basilisk, an introduced species to the island, is now also part of the menu. As they get older, their diet changes to rodents like spiny rats and agoutis, and occasionally birds. But their strategy stays the same. They hide under dead vegetation and wait for the right moment to strike. For the prey, it's a quick ending, and though it's brutal, it gets to live a nicer life than many of the animals around us. Did you know that over 99% of farmed animals in the US are raised on factory farms? This means poor conditions for these animals and practices that harm our environment as well. Even if you're an occasional meat eater like I am, I'm sure you can agree that situations like these are unacceptable. So that got me thinking, what can we do about it? That's where the sponsor of today's video, FarmKind, comes in. They work with experts to research and vet charities that help factory farmed animals. Each dollar given goes directly to charities, who then help as many animals as they can. I love how FarmKind's website explains exactly how your donation goes to helping our furry friends. They calculate what kind of impact your money will have. Like, donating just $15 a month can help almost 350 animals a year. FarmKind has a compassion calculator to figure out how much you'd need to donate to offset your diet. I was able to input mine and see what my offset looks like. Looks like if I donated $18 a month, that would do more good than if I stopped buying animal products altogether. And because FarmKind is grant-funded, they won't take a cut out of your donation, meaning 100% of what you give goes straight to their recommended charities that are freeing millions of animals from cruelty and developing new food systems for a better future. And if you'd like to donate even just a small amount, check out the link in the description, and if you use my code Animalogic, your donation will get a 50% boost from pledges by larger donors. So check them out. I'm sure you'll be impressed with the work they do. Now, back to the snakes of Gorgona. The fact that they hunt under dead leaves puts them in direct contact with people. Between 1959 and 1984, the island was turned into a prison inspired by Alcatraz. This led to massive deforestation that the island is only beginning to recover from. In the 1950s, the Colombian government was looking for a place to send its most dangerous criminals. Gorgona, by then already known as an inhospitable island, was chosen to house the inmates. They were given jobs, which included clearing huge swaths of the jungle to collect wood and make furniture. Of course, getting into the jungle, often at night, and chopping down trees and picking up wood off the ground was a recipe for disaster. Over 150 died here, many of them from snake bites.
So this is the path of death. Because back in the day, this used to be full not only of snakes, but also electrified fences. So if you try to get out of there, you'll get electrocuted. It was a place meant for people to be happy.
Thankfully now, the old jail has been turned into a national park. The forest has recovered, and ecotourism supports conservation on the island. But the Bothrops continues to be the biggest threat to visitors and park rangers. Bothrops asper, I have a hard time saying your name in English. Always reliably dangerous. But even if this snake has been responsible for most of the bites and deaths on the island, there's a couple other toxic hunters that people thankfully don't run into very often. We're talking about the cutest venomous reptiles of the isle, the coral snakes. The first one of them is the capuchin coral snake. These red-necked cuties hunt small reptiles under the leaves, which is why they sometimes bite people. Their venom causes paralysis, which often leads to breathing difficulties and sometimes asphyxiation. Similarly, its cousin, the red-tailed coral snake, hides among leaf litter and occasionally closer to the shore. Their venom has similar paralytic effects. But thankfully to us, their warning coloration makes them much easier to spot and avoid. But make no mistake, these are not snakes you want to mess with. If you are an animal trying to escape the venomous snakes by climbing up a tree, you've got another thing coming. The branches of Gorgona's trees are draped in all sorts of hunters. Some of the cutest of them are the parrot snakes. The most iconic of them is the Laura. They're tree snakes and specialize in other reptiles as well as birds and their eggs. These snakes are pretty long at about 2 meters, but they're the color of the branches and leaves they live in and are much harder to spot than some of the coral snakes and even other tree snakes. One of their prey species is the amazing blue anole. a lizard not found anywhere else in the world. Unfortunately, their population took a huge hit when most of their habitat got chopped down during the Gorgona jail years. Today, their biggest challenge is predation by introduced species like basilisks, cats, and dogs. This parrot snake might be kind of an icon in the Gorgona canopy, but its cousins are just as deadly. The Cope's parrot snake. These cuties are designed to be impossible to see, but they're so abundant that if you spend enough time on the island, you'll get a glimpse of the invisible. They're fairly docile, so it's not rare to see someone pick one up. Still, they technically have venom. Not enough to cause you any health issues, but possibly quite painful. Another kind of snake lives up in the canopy. They're called vine snakes, genus Oxybelus. But they're a bit of a mystery. Even though we know the genus they belong to, we don't know for sure what species they are. They used to be called Mexican vine snakes, but recent research suggests there's something else entirely. We had the chance to see one in action, so check out this Animalogic exclusive footage. This is never before seen footage. An Oxybelus seems to levitate up into the treetops with a basilisk in its mouth. The footage shows that it isn't a Mexican vine snake, but possibly a new species called Oxybelus transcendinus. This species hasn't been confirmed to live in Colombia, but our footage is helping scientists figure out what exactly this snake is. It could be the first ever observation in this part of the world.
Do you guys see that? I don't see that snake, but it had prey, caught a basilisk, and it was going up a tree. It's amazing. And to see it hunting, or having just hunted, amazing.
For us, since we're not snake prey, whether a snake is venomous or not is the first thing we want to learn about it. But on the ground, being killed by venom is just another way to die. And many snakes have figured out powerful ways to catch prey without biowarfare. One of these non-venomous snakes in Gorgona has become synonymous with power, the boa constrictor. Or at least it used to be. The Colombian boa, Boa constrictor imperator, was thought to be a subspecies of massive boa constrictor, but recent research has shown that it's its own species. It's the largest snake on the island, and it eats the largest prey out of any Gorgonan predator. The best way to tell it apart from its boa constrictor cousin is the Colombian boa's reddish tail. Either way, neither is going to be harmful to you, and will actually help control rodent populations. So pay no attention to their scary names. These are hugely important snakes in their ecosystem, and they deserve our appreciation. There's a few other amazing snake species, but unfortunately, not a lot is known about them. One of them is the appropriately named Atrachis medusa, a ground snake only found here and in the nearby continental jungle. Then there's also the blunt-head tree snake, also known as the false fer-de-lance in Gorgona. This snake is sometimes confused for a young Bothrops asper due to its similar coloration and giant head. But while the Bothrops asper needs a big head to fit its venom glands, the blunt-head tree snake needs it to fit its massive eyes. This is one of the snakes with the best vision ever recorded. And finally, we have the Ecuador sipo, a large snake with a skinny muscular build and large scales. Its main prey are frogs and other amphibians. So what makes this place such a haven for snakes? A tiny island like this doesn't seem like a place where so many species would flourish. Gorgona has a few things going for it. It's right next to the Choco rainforest ecoregion, one of the wettest places on Earth. Rain basically never stops, so there's no lean months for the animals of the island. The island is far enough from the mainland that several endemic species like the blue anole have appeared endemically. The lack of large mammals has helped amphibians and reptiles to thrive. And the elevation changes of the island, combined with the constant rain, create thousands of streams. The Pacific Ocean is also full of nutrients, and it brings lots of species to the beach to feed lots of shore predators. Yep, it's not only Snake Island, it's all Wildlife Island. The jungles, rivers, and waters are so biodiverse that it's one of the few places that you can see whales from the beach.
There's a giant group of wolves right there.
These are humpback whales. They're a part of a population that migrates to the tropics during the Antarctic winter. Here, babies are born and nursed until they're big enough to survive the cold Antarctic waters. Despite their richness and biodiversity, Gorgona doesn't have a lot of krill, so the mothers fast for months and wait until they return to the south to eat again. It's quite majestic. Unfortunately, even though he got incredibly lucky with the oxybella snake and the humpbacks, Andreas couldn't find a Bothrops asper.
So that was it. Unfortunately, no luck with the Bothrops. But look what we got to see. It's really amazing. We really want to come back, finally get to see the Bothrops and other snakes. For now, that's all we got. Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Andreas, for bringing us into the depths of Gorgona. In more ways than one, I'm kind of glad you didn't see one. If you can, support conservation efforts by visiting places like Gorgona and the nearby tropical Pacific towns. It helps the animals, but also the people working hard to protect them. We got the chance to talk to one of these ecotourism guides about his life there and the challenges that he experiences.
Hola, mi nombre es Leonardo Micolta Aragón. Nosotros podemos encontrar acá algunas especies como la mapaná, que es una serpiente venenosa. Esta serpiente de alguna manera es una de las que genera mayores accidentes acá en Colombia debido a que se camufla muy bien y muchas veces nosotros entramos a invadir su espacio sin saber que ella está allí presente y pues es allí donde se dan esos accidentes. Mi bisabuelo, cuando inició en este proceso de esta finca, tuvo un encuentro casual con una mapaná. Lastimosamente en ese encuentro él sufrió una mordedura en uno de sus brazos y perdió la vida. Debido a eso nosotros hemos iniciado un proceso de concientización sobre la protección de estas especies, pero también buscando que las personas no invadan esos espacios de ellas para evitar que más personas sigan perdiendo la vida o teniendo accidentes con la mapaná o la talla X.
It's a huge reminder that behind all juicy stories of conflict between humans and animals, there's a human cost that locals pay and we barely hear about it. But hearing their stories and supporting their work is a great first step for a more sustainable coexistence. So what should we talk about next? Please let me know in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for new episodes every week. Thanks for watching. See ya! Don't forget to check out FarmKind to help us improve the lives of millions of farm animals. You can make a huge difference. And special thanks to Leonardo Micolta Aragon.